Good morning. How's it going? Hi. Ugh. Sorry, it started a little late. I didn't think I was going to be able to go live after a couple attempts there, but here we are. Here we are. It's Monday. I probably should be doing 100 other things except going live, and let's do this. Let's do this anyways. I was going to say, what's going on? Oh, hey, Lyra's on. How's it going? So, yeah, okay, I can jump right to it. If you are new to the page, welcome, but please stay away from my lives. They will likely turn you off, especially if you're really new to this topic. Please watch. What are you doing? It's okay, you're in the back. Jeff's like crawling to plug in a phone. Yeah, if you're new here, please watch at least 5 different highlights before watching a live. Like, I implore you, jump off, or this won't be fun, and you'll just feel like I'm, mean or whatever other term you want to use for your forget it. So jump off already, so I don't say it. Okay. I've been itching since watching the Parasite highlights yesterday. Yeah, I had, there's some people too that are like, oh my gosh, even, now that you posted that, like now I'm even more scared to try it. And it's like, yeah, it's going to be a personality thing. When I heard about all the Parasite stuff, I got like excited to try it. I was like, if parasites are that common and they're in a bunch of stuff, and they find their way into our body by means of XYZ, I want them out. That's how I felt. And it's like, yeah, they coat themselves in heavy metals, and as soon as heavy metals are released from your system, they're going to die off and leave your system. So yeah, I had some people messaging in that, I'm like, oh, it's a Sunday. I haven't done a post because I've been at that HempWorks thing for 3 days. I better do a post on TRS so people also don't feel like they're being ignored. And I do that post, and then like I just shouldn't post on Sundays, because then people just got worried again for like no real reason. And then I had to deal with several people, who's their own medicine cabinets in their house. Like, what have you allowed into your system? And you are like tripping out over a zeolite and pure water. Is this safe? Is this safe? It's like, oh my God, is this safe? As they're drinking their Starbucks for the day. I got news for you. Is this safe? Is it safe to take pure water and a zeolite as they are downing? I'm just saying. Okay. If you're all about that FDA approved life, then best of luck to you, and don't take it, This is why Jeff has to be the one to respond to most of these people, because my heart goes out to them. All the more, when I get some of these responses, all the more I'm like, they definitely need to do this detox, because they didn't even read the FAQs, One girl was like, can you summarize this for me? I'm like, there's like 13 questions. Just look at it. If you don't have the time to look at it, then I don't have the time to respond to you. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not cut out for this. This is why, please, God, let all of this just work out, because I can't. Because I need to just focus on other things, okay? Got a bunch of you guys looking up sovereign citizen type stuff, and I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to help you do it. I can explain it another time. We've done talks on this before. What do you mean my kids aren't mine? Well, no, they're your they're your kids. One woman, I was like, crap, she's new. I was like, when did she goes, what do you mean my kids aren't mine? And I didn't even respond to her with like, the answer to that. I was just like, hey, when did you start following this page? She's like, yesterday. I'm like, oh, okay. Bye. I was like, peace. Yeah, your kids are yours. You had them. So they're yours. There's just a routing number on the Social Security account and on the birth certificate that routes back to the bank that actually owns them, which is why CPS can come in and take them at any time, even though they're a private company. They're not even with the government. You know, like there's too many different rabbit holes to go down. And why do you think in the news stories when they invade the compounds with, you know, the families that have like, that practice polygamy and stuff, why do you think they return the children that don't have birth certificates? Because they don't own those kids. That's why. Long story short, I'm not going to be telling you to go and do this though. It's a long process to try to gain your sovereignty back. It's a headache. It's going to be time consuming. There are lawyers that can handle this for you. And I already have to deal with people that are asking questions like medical questions, even though this thing says don't ask me medical questions. So like, I'm not spending my time teaching you how to become sovereign, because then are you sovereign? Are you sovereign up here if you're like asking random strangers on the internet for advice on this kind of stuff? Like use your resources in front of you, you know? Look up birth certificates. Are we sovereign? No, not quite, because here's my thing. Going down that path of understanding this, it's daunting. It's really daunting because the cop could just be having a bad day, okay? They pull you over and like, where's your license and registration? Well, here's the thing. I own this car. So since I own this car and I'm a sovereign citizen, I don't need to pay to register it to a state. Got it? Because I'm sovereign. That cop who graduated from indoctrination camp is going to look at you, and depending on his mood, he might just book your ass. And then if he does, even though you're legally in your realm of whatever, if you've had all your paperwork done, like you still get booked. You still end up in jail, and you got to call your lawyer. It's a process. Like, do you want to deal with that? Like, can I travel if I'm sovereign? Yes, people travel all the time. People can still work. When you work, there's either you're a citizen of, look, I said I wasn't going to talk about it, and here I'm talking about it. We'll do that another time, because I would be an amazing cop. No, I actually want to teach people how to like deal, you know. I'm the type like, okay, if I get pulled over, and I've actually gotten out of more tickets than I've gotten, which is great. I've definitely done the crying thing. I'm like, okay, crying works. But there was one year where I was pulled over 3 times already, and as I was rolling down the window, this was back in 2006 or 2007, as I'm rolling down the window to my red Tacoma, the cop comes up and he's like, "Save your tears, Mrs. Blank." And I was like, dang it. You guys record this stuff? Like, he told me to save my tears. I was like, fine. So anyway, I'm like, am I still on? I know. But see, here in Vegas, you just got to know how to work things out, right? Like, everybody's got the tinted windows because it's so incredibly hot. You get pulled over on the freeway, and what do you want to do? Well, these cops, they're scared, okay? Like, if I'm a cop, I don't care how big I am, I'm kind of afraid. I'm going up to these cars. Who knows who's in that car with all the tinted windows? Because it's legal here to have windows at, you know, with more tint than it is in California, because they understand it's way too hot here. So it's like, so what do? Well, get their minds off of that stuff. You know, it's also a state where we're allowed concealed carry. We're allowed open carry here. So get their minds off of it. Roll your windows down. Turn your car off. Put your hands up. Just like, don't even give them an excuse. You know, cops will come up to you, and more often than not, they'll actually appreciate that you did that and just let you continue driving. Why am I going to like sit there and try to argue with somebody? You know, like sometimes the battle, it just pick your battles. There are some people that want to just fight with cops, you know. I get that it doesn't work for everybody. That's not a foolproof way to do anything, but like, understand the location you're in, understand the time that you're in, and like, go with that. Like, what works for you? The first time I got out of a ticket, I was actually genuinely crying because that was scary. I was still a teenager crying. I was like, no, I just got this car. I just got my license. My dad's gonna kill me. Like, I was crying. And the cop just started laughing because I accidentally called him Your Honor like 5 times. Like, just, it's almost like admitting guilt. And he was just like, it's okay, all right, stop. Anyway, so let us, just don't be an idiot, right? Like, you can have all your opinions on cops if you want, but just like, whatever, man. Realize that this is the time we're in right now. Do I want to argue with somebody for the next 10 minutes? And then possibly still have to go to traffic school anyways, and my insurance is going to go up. Okay, speaking of insurance, let's go talk about insurance for a little bit. Because when I was doing the talks last week, I did have a few people ask, and I've done a talk like this in the past. I've done a couple lives on this, but this was back when I had an audience of like 20 people. Okay, so it's probably different. But I had some people ask like, okay, doesn't make any sense. Wouldn't health insurance companies want us to be in better health? Wouldn't they be against all the vaccines? Wouldn't they be against all of this stuff? Because if we're in better health, they don't have to pay out as much. I understand the thought process of your question. I am not making fun of you. It is a great question. But I want to explain to you how things work in the land of the free. Newsflash, pharmaceutical companies are in bed with insurance companies. Do you know how insurance companies used to work before they indoctrinated your ass, before they like took all your kids, before the government said, let us teach your children, let us teach them to be just repeaters and not know how to do anything with their lives except follow orders. There used to be smaller towns, and what would happen is, I'm just going to throw a number out there. Don't quote me on this. But let's say you're in a tiny town and there's like 1 or 2 doctors in this town. Everybody pays maybe $1 a month. Okay. The doctor is funded. They get to see the people in the town and they get to make a living. They're not upset about it. They're feeling okay. All right. Insert government anything. When they come in and they want to now get involved in, first of all, God, if you're new here, you understand how my biggest pet peeve when people actually think that the government involvement in things is a good idea. We are $30 trillion. As of last year, we're $30 trillion in debt. So let's talk about government regulating anything. Are you kidding me? There should be a special government program that just regulates the deficit and regulates the spending. They're morons. They're absolute morons. And people, when they think government, some people actually think government is like this big group of people that just want to help you. That's not what the government is, okay? Insurance companies would be in bed with big pharma, and I'm going to tell you why. Flash forward to what things are like today. Are you in a state where if you don't have health insurance, you can get fined? Because there's a lot of states like that now. Oh, you can't afford our insane health insurance, which we told you was going to be significantly cheaper, which we told you was going to be amazing. And then 2 years in, after you've already been sucked into the lie, we're going to just like raise up everything to where the premiums make no damn sense unless you're hit by a truck. Oh, so you can't afford that insurance? You can't afford $1,900 a month for your family for health insurance? Okay, you're going to get fined at the end of the year. That actually is happening. So the push in that everybody is so incredibly sick. Most of the population is dependent. They've already been brainwashed so badly that they need doctors. They need the system, and if I don't have health insurance, oh my God, what's going to happen to me if I get sick? I need to go to a doctor. I need to have this person that I can call. Meanwhile, people who have health insurance, even good health insurance, considerably good, realize when they need it, it's actual garbage. You can't really do anything with it. How many of you are already awake to the fact that the ER, that a hospital is just one big, waiting room? They're not filled with actual specialists. It's just one big, not waiting room. It's one big complaining room, right? It's a complaint department. Unless you're cut up and bruised and battered like you fell off a building, they can't help you there if you have an issue you likely will be referred to what is called a specialist, okay? Obviously, insurance companies are in bed with big pharma because they want everybody to get on mandated insurance. If every person is on a mandated health insurance, that's good money. It's instant money for them. Money every month and guaranteed paychecks, okay? It's incentive for it to even exist. Every time they try to make it work, that is when things get completely effed. Private insurance is going to take care of things that you need. If tomorrow Trump or whoever's in charge cares where you stand on that, I don't even care. But if the country was just like, nope, private insurance throughout, you know what would happen? You would actually have insurance companies, smaller insurance companies, now competing for your business, creating customized packages, because not everybody needs to see a dentist 5 times a year. Not everybody needs to see an eye doctor multiple times a year. They have conditioned you that you need this. Do you understand? I know that this is very new thinking to some of you, but just try to absorb it, okay? Just try to absorb this. There is no one size fits all in anything, right? But God forbid you teach people to be responsible for individual needs in their life. It's nearly impossible to do that, though, when you're supplementing every single thing. And you can't do that when your clientele, or the majority of your clientele, went to indoctrination camp and graduated from indoctrination camp, okay? So the whole thing is effed. It's one big challenge. How are you going to convince a populace that there are actual things that they don't need in life? Yeah, but what if I get hit by a truck? Why are you so incredibly scared to get hit by a truck? I'll tell you why. The hospital bills themselves, okay? Oh my God, this would just take me 10 hours to kind of break down, but I'm going to try my best here. I'm going to try my best here to get into it, all right? Healthcare is one of these unique situations where things have gotten much worse in terms of costs, okay? You have people right now grateful for having health insurance that they pay an arm and a leg for every month. I have a friend who recently, over the spring, her boyfriend lost his father, okay? He went in for I think it was like a stomach issue, goes into the hospital a week, less than 2 weeks later, right? He still ends up passing away. The family believes that there was a lot of medical error there. Surprise, surprise, medical error is the 3rd leading cause of death in this country. The bill was $250,000 for him to be in the hospital. Okay, let's sit with this for a second. The family, when people hear that, okay, the average, not saying that they are brainwashed, okay, but I'm telling you from when you talk to the average person, they think, oh my God, it's such a good thing that they had insurance. Can you imagine? Because I said, so then what did your family end up having to pay? Oh, well, the deductible was it was like under $10,000, but thank God it wasn't $250,000. Meanwhile, the woke folk are sitting back going, why would it be $250,000 anyway to be in a hospital for less than 2 weeks? Okay? Please sit with that for a second. Why does it cost $800 a day for the average person to just be at the hospital? Why, when my husband had a kidney stone, for us to be in an ER for 6 hours and all they did was one test to make sure that it wasn't, because they have to do that test to make sure that it's not appendicitis, right? So he had a scan. Why was that bill over $10,000 and our crap deductible with Obamacare was $7,500? And I'm supposed to feel grateful that I only owe $7,500 for them to waste our time and give my husband a prescription of Vicodin for the next 9 days? I'm supposed to feel grateful, America, that I had insurance for that to be. Why does it even cost that much money a day? And we're here brainwashed AF to think, well, I'm so thankful that at least I had the insurance. The fuck? Oh my God. Take your head out of your ass. And you better take your head out of your ass yourself, because if you pay the hospital to take your head out of your ass, it's going to cost you 6 figures. You can spend half the year in a 5-star luxury hotel in like Dubai, in like some resort for that kind of money. And guess what? You probably will actually get better, because all you needed was to get out of a society that lies to you all day long, that's convinced you that you should be feeling grateful right now. And you know what? For $250,000 to be in a hospital room, have you seen hospital rooms? Have you seen them? They're curtains for dividers, okay? I better live. If I'm spending 6 figures to be at a hospital for a week, it better be 100% guarantee that I survive this shit. Okay? Morons. And some people still die after spending that money. Does the hospital not charge you? No, you still have to pay it. You are leaving your health in the hands of the incompetent. Okay? It's absolutely disgusting. You have to not only get off government insurance, all right? You have to start demanding that we stop with this mindset of government insurance. You have to start teaching young people right now. Teach the youth to stop depending on this kind of shit. And what happens is, if you have the mindset like that, but you're sending your kids to indoctrination camp, I mean, I met parents all weekend long, okay, at this convention. So many people that were at this, it was mostly CBD. Many people were there because their health genuinely improved. Go figure, they took a product that was all natural, their health improved, and the company has a way to getting them paid, and they're like, I gotta start telling everybody about this. That's generally like the masses of what was there for the weekend, okay? Problem after problem after problem, all of them with the same stories, that they had to walk away from the lies, from pharmaceuticals. They had to walk away from it all, and they're now like better. Go figure. Okay? It's like, guys, I don't even know how to break this down. Let's talk really quick about specialists, okay? Because here you are thinking you're just like, it's so amazing that you have this insurance. Let's talk about specialists for a second. You go into the doctor with a stomachache, and there's this weird feeling, and it's like right here, and I don't know what's like, unless you're in the ER where you can't breathe and you're feeling like you're dying, they're not going to do anything for you. The actual doctor at the hospital is likely going to refer you to a specialist. And tell me why most specialists, okay, aren't even fully covered by the insurance that you're paying an arm and a leg for. I have a friend who went through some terrible incident with her back, okay? She had this lower back pain. No doctor in her entire Kaiser network could figure out what was wrong with her. It was a certain portion on her lower spine where there were issues. The only doctor in this country that specialized in that area, not just specialized in the spine, but specialized in that particular section of the spine, was in Dallas. Would her insurance cover that? Absolutely effing not. It would have cost her $40,000 out of pocket. That's not including travel. That's not including time her husband and her had to take off of work. The insurance companies wouldn't even cover it. Out of pocket is what they had to pay anyways to see this specialist. So tell me again. Doctors also always want to be promoted, right? In every job you want to be promoted. So you don't want to be a doctor for too long. Just that's bottom of the barrel crap if you're working in an ER. You want to become a specialist, okay? You don't go to the ER and somebody can actually help you unless you're bleeding to death. The hospital is just one big complaint department once again. Specialists get a cushy office, they're not in a hospital, there's decent parking, and people come to them only after the problem has already been somewhat found, okay? Just in anything in life. You know, that's why Jeff and I, when we started our photography over 10 years ago, of course I dabbled in every kind of photography. I did boudoir, I did maternity, I did newborn sessions, I did all of it, weddings. But when I wanted to get serious about where the bread and butter was in this business, it was in wedding photography. So what did I have to do? I had to really, really reel it back. I didn't promote anymore for all the other stuff, which even though I knew I could do and do well, I wanted to just, I think there was a 3 to 4 year period where we just did weddings. We just promoted weddings because that's the clients that we wanted to find us. We wanted people to be scouring the internet and seeing that our website was 100% wedding photography. You know why? Because the bride that's on Pinterest all day long, she's going to go to our website. She's not going to want to see like a bunch of family photos. Like she wants to just see a big Pinterest board of wedding photography. It became a specialty for us. We specialized in shooting weddings. Okay? It got us, it worked, is what I'm saying. It worked. Versus what we were doing for the first few years when we were like, we just do a little bit of everything. Nobody wants to hire a doctor that just does a little bit of everything. Are you kidding me? And I'm not comparing wedding photography to being a doctor, obviously. I mean, I guess now I can, knowing that doctors don't even have to know ingredients. Like, I have to know every part of my camera, and I have to know how to shoot in manual and all kinds of lighting situations. But God forbid you understand the difference between ingredients to a banana and I'm sorry, that was also back then when I was like also pretty brainwashed thinking that doctors were like the end all know all, okay? But guys, specialists, all right? And what, even if your insurance covers specialists, there's a bigger copay to see these specialists. Come on. Really, what in the hell are you paying for? Do you know that the rich and the elite, they travel away to see specialists? You want to look up countries like Canada with all of their free universal health care? The elite in Canada are not going to Canadian doctors for their special needs. They're coming here, okay? They're flying to Hong Kong. They're like people in my family members in Asia that have the money to do this. They're not just seeing the doctor in Manila. They're flying to Hong Kong to see specialists. They're paying out of pocket. The rich are paying out of pocket. They know that government controlled anything, but especially healthcare, is laughable. It's one big joke that if you're still paying for it, you're in on. You know what? It's easy to get the healthcare and sign up for it. It's just like with any kind of insurance, right? It's really easy to get the plan with Geico. No offense if you work for Geico. I'm just using this as an example, okay? Because I had Geico too. I think, do we still have Geico? I don't even know anymore. Okay, yeah, car insurance. Very easy to sign up with them, right? Super easy. They are so nice to you. They are just like, they have all the time in the world to answer your questions. Then you pay them. Then you get rear-ended. Now call Geico. I end up on the line. I'm 2 hours in. I'm like, can you get me the gecko? I feel like the gecko could freaking help me right now because nobody has the time. That is exactly how you're treated when you are on universal healthcare, government healthcare. Guys, once again, your government can't even handle the deficit, okay? $30 trillion. Like, it's actually one big joke. It is just one big joke. The deficit continues to rise, then all these costs are going to rise. And you got idiots in this country calling for socialism and communism, Bernie supporters, AOC supporters, literally net negatives. I told you if this was a first live, jump off. Guys, but the government is there to regulate. You guys, the FDA, they're not even the ones investigating to find out what things go bad. You know, anytime something goes bad, do you know who ends up finding out? The poor damn consumer. You and me. We get hit first by the E. coli outbreaks. We get hit first. Holy crap, somebody let the FDA or whoever's supposed to regulate this shit know that 10 people in this little town got diarrhea for 5 days straight because the lettuce is bad. Then the government is like, oh, shit. They're not regulating anything. Like, the car crash has to happen first. The brakes have to stop working first. The consumer has to hopefully not die in the car crash for us to be like, oh my gosh, who's supposed to regulate this shit again? I almost died and the brakes don't work. Then they trickle, sorry, that was our job. That was our job. Name one thing the government gets involved in where things got better. Just war, perhaps. And that's, okay? They're good at training soldiers. The government is good at training repeaters. That's what they're good at. You know, and even then you're like, well, you know, the Vietnam thing was really messed up and that South Korea incident, I mean, not really a good record. Not really good. Actually, one big nightmare. But sure, and now the government wants to get involved in the housing market again, okay? The government is trying to get involved with mortgages and home loans again. Yeah, they didn't learn their lesson. They thought that over 10 years has passed and you forgot. And you forgot. Good Lord, the impending crash is happening again. Start buckling down. Predatory lending is coming back. You got new legislations that are allowing the Fed to move in on this again. They want more homeowners and young families. Okay. Deja vu. One big nightmare. One big nightmare, you guys. Freaking healthcare. You know what? Google. When you have the time, Google outrageous hospital bills. And you tell me. Here's one that popped up. A total visit for this person, $60,000. $60,000 and $60,652. My mind is out. A CT scan for your head is $2,900. A CT scan for your body, $19,000. The observation room, $13,000. Why are the costs even that much? Nobody is asking that. We're looking at these bills going, oh my gosh, 3 days worth of labs could be $60,000. Wow, I better get some insurance. No one wants to, excuse me. Hello, sorry. What the fuck? No one's doing this. You know, and the alternative is not just paying for everything out of pocket, but here's where a lot of people here's what a lot of people are not going to want to hear, okay? If you take charge of your own health and your own life, and you stop outsourcing all of this stuff to people, surprise, surprise, you aren't going to need to be paying monthly for health insurance. It's never going to happen at the rate we've gone. We're too far gone. So yeah, I guess you need health insurance because you live in a country where 3 days worth of lab visits can cost you $60,000. So don't take this live as me saying cancel your health insurance, don't pay it. I mean, it might be illegal for you to do that. I'm just pointing out how stupid all of this is, okay? How absolutely stupid things have gotten. That's it. Room and board at a semi-private hospital for a week should not cost $72,000, especially with what they're feeding you in the cafeteria. Okay? We're stuck right now. Well, what am I supposed to... I didn't say that I was going to give you a solution in this talk, by the way. I'm just pointing out the garbage. Okay? Physical therapy. You guys know what a joke this is, right? I'll give you a little quick story. I got into a car accident where I was at a stop and I was trying to make a right, okay? It wasn't my fault. I was at a stop looking this way to see cars coming in, right? Guy behind me, not watching where he's going, slams into me, okay? This, like my neck can't even turn fully because of this thing. I was literally like, it was turned more than this, but the position my body was in to get hit like that. And this idiot also was like rushing me. He was like, I'm late for the airport. I'm late. I'm like, dude, sorry that I inconvenienced your day when you slammed into me. But I now know that I got to see somebody. I know that within a day after the adrenaline is done, my whole body is going to hurt. I was used to going to a chiropractor, and this is not knocking chiropractors. I love the chiropractor. But I'm just explaining to you how insurance works and why, and just why if you were a doctor, you would do things the way that you do things, okay? The same chiropractor that I go to that I know if I didn't have insurance, he would take me and do an adjustment. The first adjustment would be $60, but every adjustment after that would be $25 cash, okay? I know that. But because I was going in and now using insurance, I was using the insurance of the other driver who was at fault because Progressive was like, go to the chiropractor, we'll cover the bill. Okay? Guess what? I see the bill. This is just how it works in this country. The bill comes in after 12 visits. Once again, what would 12 visits have cost me before if I just paid out of pocket? $25 each time, right? I get this bill, you guys, for like $3,000 something for 12 visits. The chiropractor knows that I'm not going to pay a dime out of that. They know the Progressive is going to handle this $3,000 bill. But now I, because I'm curious, call to speak to the receptionist. And I even go there in person because she sounded annoyed with me over the phone with all these questions. And her response was always, the insurance is going to cover this. You don't have to worry about it. The insurance is going to cover it. You don't have to worry about it. I was like, it's an integrity thing for me. And also I ended up finding out, just for you guys who end up getting into an incident like this in the future, the more money that the insurance has to pay out to these doctors and specialists, the less money you get in your pocket in a settlement. Just an FYI. So I didn't know a lot of this stuff yet. Once again, I like to ask a lot of questions. I contact the chiropractor, and meanwhile, after an hour on the phone, and then I go there in person, you guys should have seen this bill. I actually have it saved somewhere here. I was like, what are all these $125 charges at every single visit? For 12 different visits, there was a $125 evaluation charge. And I was like, what is that? I don't remember doing it. Oh, that's when the chiropractor asked you how you were feeling. Oh, really? Every single time that I came into this office for him to say, so how are you doing today? That's $125 he got to add on that bill. Tell me that this shit is not predatory. Oh, but you don't have to worry about that, Mrs. Talia. Like, you're not going to have to pay it. Guys, I was like, what about the heat pack, the ice pack, all that crap? Like, I didn't want any of that stuff. Why'd you charge me for it? They're like, oh no, you don't have to pay for that. I was like, but I didn't even want it. You handed me the bag with all this crap in it that I didn't want, okay? I didn't want. Oh, no, don't worry. You don't have to. Guys, this is how doctors operate in this country. And they maybe mean well. And he's still a good chiropractor. It doesn't take from the fact that, like, he did help adjust my back. He did. But this is, unfortunately, because insurance gets involved, how things work now. Okay? I'm sorry to burst your bubbles. You know, and then they want to now tell you sometimes, okay, now you got to go to this physical therapist place, and then you go and what? I'm telling you, if you ever want a one-on-one with a doctor or a dentist, and you actually ask them true out-of-pocket cash, ask them what they'll accept, it is significantly lower than if you went through insurance. You know why? Because going through insurance is a freaking nightmare, and a lot of times they're willing to take the hit because I'll get paid more in the long run. I'll get paid more in the long run for this, you know, but so I'm not going to get paid up front. The insurance company is going to take maybe another 5 months to pay me my money, but like it's going to be a big fatter check. So many people just don't even realize how this stuff works. I've had to like help a lot of my friends settle their bills and help them actually keep more money when they get into instances like this, because they don't even know that they have every right to like ask these questions and get these bills lowered. Guess what? Guess what my chiropractor bill ended up getting lowered down to? Only because I was nagging them. And I didn't even realize that I was able to get more money out of this, because Progressive was like, no, well, we were going to just issue the check anyway, but whatever we don't have to give to them, we're just going to give to you. And I was like, oh, guys, my bill went from $3,000 something to like $300. Did you know that you could do things like this? That you could like actually... So now I get it. And that threw me down the road of like a lot of other stuff, you know, that comes to the hospital. Now, then when I got into like life insurance and then health, I got certified in life and health to like understand it more, understand the scam more. Seeing like clients and their bills. I share there's a highlight on here called biologics, right? Yeah, I believe that's what it's called. I think that's what I titled it. And I show a guy who had a hospital bill of over $80,000, and while he was in a coma, they vaccinated him. Biogenics. Shit, what's it called? Biologic. Anyway, if you go to the hospital, they won't word it vaccinations on the clipboard. So you need to let your family members know, whoever is going to take you to the hospital on the in case that you're in a coma, that they have to sign on there, no biogenics, like none of that. Okay? Or else if they don't sign that, then they just signed off that you could be in a coma in the hospital and the nurse can just come in and give you a flu shot and give you all of this stuff while you're under. It's biogenics highlight. Okay, there we go. Why am I biologics? Where am I coming from? My mind is on. So yeah, people don't understand this kind of, like, we literally are to a point in society right now where we have to go into the hospital tattooed across our chest, do not vaccinate me if I'm unconscious. Because they will. It's disgusting, but that's how things work right now in this country. Like, that's what the ER is, guys. It's one big, like, tetanus vaccine push. Have you noticed? You could be there because you choked on your cereal that morning, and you feel like your throat got scratched up, and they're gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, are you up to date on your tetanus shot?" I promise you. The ER right now, it's one big tetanus push. That's all it is. So that would be why, long story short, your insurance companies would be okay with you remaining sick. They're fine with it. They're fine with it. They're trying to kill off the older generation already, if you haven't noticed. They're either going to kill them off or they're going to make it so that they lose their memories, they lose their minds. How many old people are already convinced that they're just going to either get dementia, Alzheimer's, or they're going to die of heart attacks, or they're going to die of cancer? Like, they're just convinced in their minds that that's how they're going to go. Because that's all society is feeding them all day long. So you get rid of the older generation and you start convincing the youth that, number one, the older generation was wrong. They didn't know any better. And number two, it's very normal to be this sick. It's very normal. We're born into a world like this where we're just all so sick. And thank God we have government. And thank God we have insurance companies that get to step in and save the day. When in fact, they've ruined everything. Pharma is in the business of symptom management and disease maintenance. That's what pharmaceuticals are in the business for. Okay? They are not in the business to cure heart disease, to cure cancer, to cure Alzheimer's. What was the last thing that they've cured? Ask yourself, what is the last thing that they've cured? Yet billions are being poured into this research. If they were in the business of cure, they'd be putting themselves out of business. Okay? That doesn't make sense from a business standpoint. There's no conspiracy theory there. This is proven over and over and over again. Pharma does not want to cure people. Psychiatric drugs are actually encouraging people to remain customers to an industry. Antipsychotic. People are told that they are going to likely be on these psychotropic drugs for the rest of their lives. And they're actually okay with it. And then they're grateful that they have insurance to cover their medications for the rest of their lives, except for a small copay. Wake up! Holy crap, wake up. You're not only told that you got to be on this for the rest of your life, but that if you were to get off of this, there's going to be serious withdrawal symptoms if you stopped. Serious withdrawal symptoms if you stopped cold turkey. And then even if you try to eliminate it and get off of it slowly, day by day, side effects, terrible side effects, okay? Come on. They're lowering cholesterol excessively, right? But then, so all of these cholesterol medication, how many of you have family members, like older relatives that are just on cholesterol medication with no means to an end? You're like, okay, so how long are you going to have to be on that? They don't even know how to answer you. Well, I guess forever. Okay, well, they're lowering your cholesterol excessively with these drugs, but guess what? Surprise, surprise, other diseases are popping up as consequence of you being on drugs like this for the rest of your life. God, you guys, the drugs are tried against placebos, which are sugar pills, okay? And many of these are found and not many of them, are found more effective than the sugar pills themselves. I mean, antidepressants are no more effective than sugar pills, yet there's 44 million people that are taking them with no means to an end. Okay? They're just proving that these antidepressants are not even working. Antidepressants that come with a side effect of suicidal thoughts. FDA approved, though. It gives you that comfort, you know? God forbid a doctor tell you. It's like, oh my God, really? I mean, we're living in the Twilight Zone right now, but if we were living in like an actual, where things made sense, your commercials would be like, ask your doctor if getting off your ass and starting to exercise is right for you. Ask your doctor if eating McDonald's 3 times a week when the side effects are listed at the drive-thru that the products may contain cancer-causing ingredients, or it doesn't even say may, products known to cause cancer. Ask your doctor if forcing yourself to stop this kind of nonsense and crap eating is right for you. There's no money in that. The doctor the doctor, when you come into the office, right, they're looking up on their computer, telling you not to look into the computer to be a Google mom. They're on Google. And they're looking up what your insurance is going to cover. So like, what can I tell this person? I dare you. If you're bored and you just want to pay a copay just to be bored and see what's what, try going into the doctor's office with a headache. Try leaving without a prescription. I dare you. I dare you. you won't be able to leave there without a prescription for some kind of stronger Advil. Oh my gosh. Pharma supports major journals. They support all the advertising. Use your common sense. Okay? They make 5 to 7 times the amount of money than any other fortune companies in this entire planet. And you're just one big human commodity. The elderly are cash cows. They're preying upon our elderly. Wake up. Pushing flu shots at retirement centers, okay? Like, why do you think Granny, within a week of the flu shot at the retirement center, kicked the bucket? Nobody's asking. I don't know. I mean, she was already not doing too well, but then, like, she ended up in the retirement home, and then, like, just within a few months, she was dead. Yeah, because they killed her. Because you left Granny in the hands of people that... Oh, but you're also part of a society that has made it so that you don't even value your elderly. They are easily disposable. That's what society is right now. And maybe that same elderly treated you like you were easily disposable. You know, you're 18 years old. Well, I'm also brainwashed, and I was told that when you're 18, get the heck out of my house and do whatever you want with your life. So no relationship was actually built there, which is why you don't give a shit about grandma and grandpa in the retirement center. Because they probably didn't give a shit about you when you were 18. So once again, the destruction of the nuclear family. Let's go. Pharma reps are building market shares, and they don't even think about the consequence that this is going to have to their patients. Pharma is they're the only people allowed to lobby right now in Washington and line politicians' pockets. Like, start piecing things together. The industry has just run itself into this nightmare that we are all in right now. How do we take our power back? How do you hold pharma accountable? You know? It's really terrible. It is really terrible, the state that we're in. And I'm not telling you that you need to go and make amends with family. I mean, a lot of you guys have broken relationships with parents even, you know, that you're like, I just can't. You can't find it in yourself to forgive them. Or maybe you've forgiven them, but you can't bring yourself to allowing them back into your life anymore because they're kind of they're so far gone, and it's poisonous to actually allow them and their way of thinking back into your family when you're trying to build a better family, you know? And I'm a proponent of that. I mean, if you didn't come from a healthy family, what's the saying? If you didn't come from a healthy family, make sure a healthy family comes from you, right? So if you don't have that, and you don't have that, like, matriarchy or patriarch in your family that everybody can just kind of gravitate to, that gives the actual good advice, that is a part of this family unit, you can be that. The good news there is that you can be that for your family. Okay? And I understand. I've shared this before, and there was back when I was living in San Diego, I had volunteered with a friend to go to a retirement center. We went like a few different times just to keep these old people company. It's like you go and you just play cards with them, and you know, there was a woman that we were seeing, and we were in the room with her, and we were just hanging out, talking life story stuff. And one of the visits that we were there, I think it was the second visit, her daughters came in that day, and we were just kind of sitting off to the side, and the way that her daughters spoke to her would have broken your heart, okay? One of her daughters literally even was like almost kicking at her. She was like pushing her with the wheelchair with her foot. Like her mom was just that much of a burden to her. They were just there to talk about money stuff and didn't even care. Like, they were so rude to her that it took everything in me to not jump up out of my chair and like want to slap these people. The way that they spoke to their mother, heartbreaking. And you're talking one of the retirement centers that was like, at the time, it's like $6,000 a month to put your parent there. So it's not like they were poor and the mom they were well-to-do. They just didn't have the time for this person. And my heart broke for her. And my friend was sitting there too, like, oh my God, I cannot believe these women. When the daughters left, after the way that they just like, it was constant irritation in their voice, the way they were talking to their mom, okay? When they left the room, we were like, how could you let them talk to you? Like, oh my God, like, those are your daughters? Like, are you sure they weren't stepdaughters? How could you? And she just sat there and she was quiet. And I will never forget. This has like been seared into my memory. She sat there. And then after taking a deep breath and a hard swallow, she looked at us and said, they talk to me like that because that's how I treated them when they were younger. I never had time for them, and I was always too busy, and I never had a relationship with my daughters. I treated them the same. I will never forget. And she was like, it's a sick cycle in this country. It really is. And she's just accepted that that's her reality. And then it was a turning point for me because I went from being enraged and wanting to like run after those daughters in the parking lot and just scream at them to completely just sympathizing with them. We, all around us, are walking, talking pieces of history in our elderly that we can really learn a lot from, okay? Not just in like, I'm always telling people, go talk to your elderly. Ask them how many allergies there were when they were kids. Ask them all these questions, like what diseases ran rampant, like ask them stuff like this. Many of them have already been through all of the trials that just you wouldn't want to get into, and they are more than willing to share these stories with you if you would just ask. And you can learn a lot. I would rather, because that's just the way that I'm wired, some people, they only learn by falling flat on their face. They don't take advice. I want to do it myself, and if I prefer to learn from other people. Like, I'd rather, that's why I take caution at this. That's why I am one of the few activists in this that I didn't have to have a vaccine injured child to get fired up and be an activist for this, which is why I get so infuriated at the people that have treated parents of vaccine injury that they've already lost everything. Their kid's already been through the fire and they're being treated like absolute garbage for just warning people. That's why I get fired up about that. But I learned and listened to all of these stories that were pouring in. And I'm so grateful so that my kids didn't have to go through that. You know, what do I do this for? Why? Well, yes, there have been children in my life that are not my own children, but have close to my family and even relatives that have been injured and have regressed after vaccines. They're who I can't shut up about. That is why I can never shut up, because those parents, it's been years and years and years, they're still not ready to talk about it. They're still living with the guilt of it. So it's just disgusting to me that these parents that have already gone through this, that it's hard enough for them to talk about this, are being gaslighted. And even the activists that don't have children yet that are taking these stories and they're going out there, like, I love that. Thank you. Thank you to everybody that is a part of this, that is bringing awareness to this. And this thing's about to boot me off, so I'm going to go take a bit of a break and might jump back on later. But yeah, take care, guys.